Hi everyone! Today I'm here sharing a Project Life process video called Happy Thoughts. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to be using a Design A page protector from Becky Higgins, and I'm going to be using these 5 photos. I'll tell you a little bit more about them as I go along. I'm also going to be using the Studio Calico Cirque Project Life kit, as well as the Studio Calico card kit that's Cirque as well, and some things from my stash. So thanks. I hope you have happy thoughts as we go through this too. So I'll just let you know what I'm doing as I'm going through here. So whenever I do a Project Life spread, the way I start is I print off all my photos in various sizes and I just lay them out on the page where I think I'd like them to go. It does change, but that's where I put them originally, and then I go about moving them around and doing the rest of the process. And then once I've laid down my photos where I think I'd like them to go, I start going through my Project Life cards. And I typically start with the cards that I get in the kit because I receive the Studio Calico Project Life kit every month. And then once I have gone through those cards, then if I need any other cards or any filler cards or journaling cards or whatever, then I'll go to my stash and pull out what I have in my stash, because I have lots of cards in my stash. I also try to stick to 2 or 3 colors on a page. I just like the way that it looks, and I feel like it brings consistency to the page. So on this page, I've decided to go with yellow and this bluish mint color that you see on that top card in top left, and I'm also going to be using gold. I do have some other pops of color in there as well, but they don't really take over that much and they're just very subtle, so I love the way that this looks in the end. I don't think I usually mix yellow and this blue color together, but I actually really like them. So what you were just seeing me do was trying to use some of the card kit paper pad, this 6x6 paper pad, to fill in a card too. And I found that yellow with white flowers paper, and I just love the way it looked. And it went well with the flower pictures that I'm using on this page. So I grabbed that and I cut it down into a 3x4. Now I also had this card that I just cut in half there that had sort of a gray scale flower pattern on it, and I really loved that and I wanted to use that card as well. That card actually comes from another one of the Studio Calico add-ons, which is actually still available, so if you're interested, I'll link it below. It is the spring card stamp. The spring card and sticker set from Life Love Paper, and it has this really pretty pattern. Now these photos are actually from December, but I don't really mind mixing things up. Just because the card comes from a spring set doesn't mean I can't use it, right? So, and it actually works really well with the photos, and the color scheme isn't taking away from anything else on the page. So I think it works. I mean, I might be wrong, but I think it does. I've also added some cards with gold foil on them from my stash, and I know for a fact that those cards come from Project Life and Heidi Swap. And I have all my cards stored in old Project Life boxes by color, and so I had just grabbed the white and gold because I just love them, and I think they actually work really well with the yellow and the colors that are on the page too. And I needed a couple journaling cards, so I had grabbed a couple of those, as well as I grabbed this blue one that you saw in the bottom left hand corner that is like an envelope and it says hi, and it works well with the photos that are there. Speaking of photos, let me tell you about them. In the top right hand corner there is a photo of a Betty Crocker cookbook, And that is my favorite cookbook of all time. And it is so old. It's falling apart, but it actually belonged to my mom, and before that, her mom. So it has a lot of special memories for me. And in December, I love to cook and bake, and a lot of the recipes that I use come from that cookbook. So that yellow card that you're seeing on underneath that cookbook photo is actually the packaging that came in the Project Life kit, and I love that yellow, and I felt like it fit with some of the other yellow elements that I had on the page, so I decided to use it. I don't like wasting anything. I had also grabbed this little tiny pink heart print that came in the 6x6 paper pad as well, and I had cut that to cover up the printing that was on that yellow card that had the packaging information on it. Now, I just felt like that card was missing something, so I decided to go through other Project Life cards to see if something I could find could work. And I found these transparency Project Life cards. Some of them come from Project Life and Becky Higgins, and some of them come from a Studio Calico kit too. And the one that I end up using, I believe, comes from Studio Calico from a few months back. Unfortunately, I don't think it's available, but it has this really awesome type on it, and you aren't able to really see in the end what the type says, but I think it just adds that extra little something something. I don't know. It just looks really good to me, so I'm going to use that. And I still needed something to cover up that packaging information, so I end up just using that pink heart paper as well to cover up that middle section where the packaging information is. Now, if you put adhesive underneath those acetates, you can see them. So I put it just in the middle of the acetate, which I knew was going to be covered, and in the end you can't see it, and that works really well. So what other photos are you seeing here? In the middle row, I have two flower photos, one of baby's breath and one of a rose. And they're just really pretty photos to me that I actually took at a friend's wedding. I somehow got invited / roped in / agreed, I don't know, to be the photographer for this friend's wedding. Well, it's not even my friend, it was my mom's friend, and she didn't have a photographer, and she knew I liked taking photos, so I somehow got agreed to do that, and I invited another friend who is a professional photographer to help so that she could get more practice, and so the two of us photographed her wedding, and those flowers just come from that. And the photos that are in the bottom, which are sort of covered up right now, are photos of my work. In December, I started a new job working with my mom, and the very first week we had to stuff a ton of promotional envelopes to send out. So we had spent 2 or 3 days just stuffing envelopes. So I have two photos of that. I have photos of us stuffing them, and then also a photo of all the boxes that we had filled with envelopes that we had stuffed. I keep getting distracted from telling you what I'm doing. So anyways, under that cookbook photo, I put some black paper just to help it pop, and then I also wanted to add some vellum underneath it just to give it sort of a airy look. Also, I plan on using some vellum pieces other places on the page, so I wanted to help keep the page looking consistent. And I decided to adhere those down so that I can start working on that card. I'm also going to add a date stamp, and the reason I'm adding my date stamp now instead of waiting till the end is because on the back of my photos I write out or print out the date, and I didn't want to forget when that photo was taken, so I just am using that right away. And this is a Dear Lizzie date stamp, and I'm using black StazOn ink. And don't be horrified, but I never clean off my date stamp just because I only use it with black. I don't know, it's sort of like a weird tick that I have, but I don't like using it with any other color, so I just don't clean it off because I know that I'll be using that black again. So I'm also going to be using some other vellum on this page, and this vellum actually comes from Studio Calico. It was a 4x4 paper pad, Unfortunately, it's not available anymore, sorry. But if you did get it, this is a fun thing that you can do, is you can use it underneath photos to add some layering. And what I am doing is just tearing it instead of cutting it neatly, and just creating like a tear line around the photos and using this extra scraps to add some extra dimension. And I'm going to do that a couple times on this page, but vellum looks actually really cool when you tear it instead of just cutting it. So even if you just have plain vellum or another type of patterned vellum, maybe try ripping it and see how cool it looks, because I think I really love that technique. I'm gonna just go back and stamp the date again because I didn't want to forget when those photos were taken. Like I said, I just do that so that I don't forget, because I had written on the back of the photos what the date was. And now I'm gonna adhere those flower photos down, and once I'm done with that, I'm going to round the corners. That's another one of my weird Project Life tics. I don't know. I love rounded corners. I don't like it when I have any square photos in my Project Life, so I just round them all. And I did not get a new corner rounder. I'm still using the old one. This one is actually an even older one that comes from We Are Memory Keepers, and it's so dull, but it doesn't get stuck like my Becky Higgins one does. So I'm going to use that for the meantime, but really I just need to purchase a new one. I'm just trying to figure out which one is the best one. So if you have any suggestions as to which corner rounder you use that doesn't suck, let me know in the comments, because I really need to purchase a new one and I'd love to hear your feedback. Again, I'm ripping some vellum here and using it underneath that photo from work, and just piecing together all the different pieces to make that layered look around the photo. I'm sorry you can't see the bottom cards very well. I just moved it up there for you, but I sometimes forget how I'm scrapping for a video, which is, I guess, is a good thing, so that I don't do something different than what I would normally do. But it's not a good thing in that I sometimes get off screen. I'm really trying to get better, I promise. Anyways, on that bottom card, I am going to be using that envelope card as well, and I didn't want to use it on the whole entire card, so I just let it overlap and trim off the extra. And I'll be using that photo of the box of envelopes that we had made, and also layering vellum ripped up underneath it as well. So all of a sudden it just dawned on me that I didn't tell you where all the Project Life cards come from. I think I told you some of them, but not all of them. So any of the cards that I didn't tell you where they're from, for example, that Hello February card, which is in the top left-hand corner, and the yellow photo that's under that flower card, those cards come from the Studio Calico Cirque Project Life kit. In just a moment, I'm going to get to my favorite part, which is embellishing. But before I do that, I want to tell you sort of a little bit about my process for Project Life. I do not do weekly. I couldn't do it. It would stress me out, I would feel behind, and I don't have enough photos. So I typically do monthly, and I don't do just Project Life. I also do 12 by 12 spreads, and in my albums I mix Project Life pages like this one and 12 by 12 spreads together, as well as inserts and other things. I just love the way that they all look together. And I use Project Life pages for when I have little photos that I don't necessarily love as much or want to do a full 12 by 12 spread for, but that I want to show because they document my life. So I hope that makes sense. And also, I don't scrapbook current photos typically. I do sometimes, but most of the photos I scrapbook are from a year ago. These photos are actually from just over a year. They're from December 2013. And the reason I do that is because I feel like it takes all pressure off of me. And I just enjoy the process of scrapbooking, and I don't want there to be stress or pressure to keep caught up or any of that. So I just do the photos that I love when I want to. I print off the photos from last year and put them in order in my album, but I don't really scrapbook them in order. I just sort of go all over the place. And if I have a photo from this year that I really, really love that I want to scrapbook, I'll totally do that. And I'll just put it in a different album so that next year when I'm working on 2015 photos, I can just add to those layouts that I've already made. So I've started my embellishment here. Let me just tell you what I've already done. I added that yellow circle acetate sheet in that top left-hand corner to cover up the Hello February, because obviously these are December photos. I trimmed it down a little bit because I wanted it to have more of like a rough handmade kind of feel than the perfect circular way. I also used some sentiments from the scrapbook kit. You saw me hold them up earlier. They're white with gold writing. I used one that said all day, every day, and then the other one says taking care of business. And I thought those looked cute on those bottom Project Life cards. I've used a black label sticker that says some of my favorites in the top right-hand corner. That came from the Project Life kit. This month I've also used some blue and gold hearts on that flower patterned Project Life card, and that also comes from the Project Life kit this month. I also used a couple of those stickers that came from that spring sticker and card kit, and those look like stamps, so I thought they would work well in that bottom corner. What I was just doing there was adding a journaling card because I wanted somewhere to journal about that cookbook photo. So I just used a regular line journaling card from Becky Higgins for that. I also added 2 banners that came from it came from the Project Life kit this month as well. One says good stuff, that's the little red one that's near the cookbook, and then the one that I added on top of that title card in the top left hand corner says happy thoughts. I'm also just using some white letter stickers to put the date, December 2013. Like I said, I'm a year and a little bit behind, but that's okay. And now I'm going to just add some enamel dots and just finish off that page really. The enamel dots that I'm using here come from the Flying Trapeze kit, and they're from My Mind's Eye, and they come in various shapes like triangles, hearts, and circles. And they are pink, blue, peach, and I add a couple gold ones just to tie in the colors from the page. Now I'm going to use a black pen to add my journaling to all of the cards, and I think this is a black Project Life pen. And I'm going to add journaling to that top card where the cookbook is, that love gold foil card, and on the bottom 2 photo cards as well. And I'm basically just journaling the things I already told you about how that cookbook belonged to my grandma, how the flowers were for a wedding, and how when I started my new job, the first thing we did was stuff envelopes. And now I've just slowed it down so that I can show you what some of the cards look like. Thanks everyone for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it. And let me know what you think in the comments or by liking or subscribing. I really appreciate all of your wonderful comments. You guys are amazing, and I am so blessed and lucky to have you. Anyways, thanks everyone for joining me. I hope you have a great day. I hope it stays lovely, and bye!